From Kevin Costner having more issues than Kris Jenner without coffee, to Yellowstone potentially coming to an end. One thing's for sure, Taylor Sheridan's Yellowstone has turned into one of the top-rated TV shows out there, famous enough to be considered for a massive deal with Paramount for a whole universe within Paramount+.
Haven't seen you in a while. It's Carter.
But the show's coming to an end soon, or is it? Well, one thing is for certain, Taylor Sheridan wants to carry on developing the Dutton narrative. Originally, Sheridan planned for a 5-part series when he pitched the series to Paramount all the way back in 2017. Of course, with Kevin Costner as the lead actor, but things seem a little too uncertain right now, especially with Season 4's high rating. You see, Sheridan wanted to continue with the Dutton story for at least 2 more seasons before it finally came to an end in Season 6. Not to mention, he's been hinting at the show ending for years. He actually wants the series to end on a high note, instead of dragging it on like The Walking Dead did for years. And in his words, he said that he won't cheapen the product. So with all that in mind, Season 6 will probably be the last season, and the last time we see all of our favorite Yellowstone characters. Heck, he's already told the New York Times back in an interview 2 years ago that he's already working on an end for the whole story.
Well, you know, there's 2 senators, there's only 1 governor.
Then we'll do it together.
Hey, congratulations.
And get this, he already knows how it will end. And let's be real, one can only drag a story for so long before the story begins to lose its magic. You just can't rely on a show's success, you know, unless you have new things to tell or a whole new narrative. So, unless Sheridan's flagship has another season left in it after Season 6, Yellowstone might end soon. It might come out of nowhere too, because according to Deadline, both Sheridan and Paramount plan to end the flagship series with its current format. That can only mean that Costner's John Dutton is going to be replaced by the new main character, and as rumored, it's going to be none other than Matthew McConaughey as they expand the Yellowstone franchise. Other than that, I don't know how many actors will be joining him, or any new actors for that matter, but what I do know is that fan favorites like Kelly Riley, Luke Grimes, Cole Hauser, Gail Birmingham, and Wes Bentley are all a part of the new cast. As for why Costner is getting replaced in the first place, according to rumors, there is some trouble with him shooting Season 5 due to some scheduling issues, mostly because he's directing and starring in his own Western epic Horizon. So naturally, he didn't make Yellowstone his top priority. For all we know right now, the Yellowstone we all know and love will end with the Season 5 finale, or with Season 6. So we all should be ready for that. But thankfully, the Dutton saga's next chapter with a new series lead is probably on the way, and rumor has it McConaughey is already negotiating the terms of his contract. Now, let's talk more about the franchise extension. By now, we all know that the extension is going to continue with the Dutton saga with McConaughey as the new lead, but we still don't know exactly who will star beside him except some of the actors we talked about earlier from the original franchise. Now, I still hope that Costner stays a part of Yellowstone in some shape or form, because let's be real, Yellowstone will never be the same if it doesn't have him in it. Sure, the iconic McConaughey is great and all, but he's no Costner. I mean, there's no denying that Kevin Costner is a huge part of Yellowstone. And then again, McConaughey is a very talented and celebrated actor, an actor who will probably be the best Dutton after Costner. So I guess we should give him a chance if it comes to being, because so far it seems like Costner isn't cutting it for Paramount, not with him limiting himself to just 50 days of shooting the current season after agreeing to 65 days originally. To make matters worse, he later wanted to spend only a week on shooting, which obviously doesn't cut it. But it's kind of understandable considering he's busy on his project with Warner Brothers Pictures and co-writer John Baird. Still though, it was very frustrating for Sheridan, and it also caused morale problems for all the other stars of the show because the issues were coming from the actor who played the leader of the Dutton clan. So all All these scheduling problems left Paramount with no choice but to decline Costner's recent proposal, and they decided to move on to the other show instead. Now, everybody's scrambling for the Yellowstone extension, especially Sheridan, who has to write a new story with McConaughey as the new lead star. But it's still uncertain though, because they're still under negotiations and nothing has been made official yet. Not to mention with all the success the prequel series 1883 and 1923 have had, as well as all the other Sheridan shows coming soon. The studio isn't as dependent on Yellowstone as it used to be, so they'll do just fine without Costner. As far as where the extension will be set is concerned, it's unclear whether or not it'll be on the Dutton Ranch in Montana or not. For all we know right now, it could be set in an entirely new location. One thing's for sure though, this is probably going to happen considering all the disagreements with Costner and him spending less and less time shooting the series. Now, as shown at the end of season 3, when the entire family was attacked, Costner's John Dutton character has survived hitmen as well as shady real estate developers, the same developers who tried to seize ownership of the huge Dutton Ranch in Montana from him. Ironically, both the actor portraying the role and the character had trouble with a time commitment agreement. And of course, this forced the character out of his homeland. More on that later. According to reports, Yellowstone could end with the second half of the current season, which began airing its 9th episode at the start of January and is scheduled to return in the summer. Now, moving on, Sheridan's calendar for the Yellowstone extended universe is already set, especially with Tim McGraw, Faith Hill, and Sam Elliott appearing in the prequel limited series 1883, the one which recounts the history of the Dutton family's acquisition of the land that would become the Yellowstone Ranch. Then there's Helen Mirren and Harrison Ford's drama 1923, which is set during the Western expansion, Prohibition, and the Great Depression, the one scheduled for the second and final season as well. Oh, and there are 2 other limited series in the works that cover the battle to hold on to the ranch in the 1940s and the 1960s. So Sheridan clearly has his hands full. Then there's another series from David Oyelowo, playing the lead role of Bass Reeves, the first black deputy U.S. Marshal in the series Bass Reeves, which is now in production. This is also set in the Taylor Sheridan world, with a possible standalone modern franchise extension with 4 Sixes, which is set in the period similar to 1883. Last but not least, there's Lioness, a modern espionage starring Morgan Freeman, Nicole Kidman, and Zoe Saldana. Needless to say, Sheridan won't really think twice about Costner being booted off the show because he has lots to look forward to. So one actor, even if it's the lead, won't stop him from making new hit TV shows. That was all about the end of Yellowstone and what Taylor Sheridan has said about it.